Zero may equal nothing, but often it's the best. Zero debt is good, zero stress in life is awesome, and zero impact on the environment. That's the holy grail. So when First Element Fuel, a company devoted to building out a hydrogen network for zero-emission fuel cell vehicles, started hitting the road, using the name True Zero was the obvious choice for the brand. The company began in 2014 with 3 principles. Joel Iwanek, a seasoned auto company executive who's worked at Porsche, Hyundai, and GM. Dr. Tim Brown, a scientist and prominent thought leader in hydrogen energy out of the University of California, Irvine. And Dr. Shane Stevens, also a scientist and thought leader in clean energy, who has done vital and groundbreaking work at the National Fuel Cell Research Center. All right, so here we are at the True Zero offices. We're here with 2 of the founders. Guys, thanks so much for being here. We got Shane, we got Tim.
Thank you.
Tell me how this whole thing got started. How did you get involved, Tim?
Well, Shane and I had been working at university for years on hydrogen infrastructure. And we got to a point where we thought we had the answers, and we're waiting for someone to come up and build the station.
Yeah.
And we kept waiting. All the pieces were there, but nobody was putting them together. Nobody was stepping up and do this. Early 2013, Shane really started pushing us, let's go do this. And eventually we had to just bite the bullet and do it ourselves.
And how did you get involved?
Yeah, so in my PhD research here at the University of California, Irvine was focused on hydrogen station deployment. And a small but critical piece was getting a network of stations so that consumers can actually drive these cars around.
Well, how quickly will a network of stations roll out? I think it's a question everybody wants an answer to. What do you guys say?
We're working on the first 19 right now. They're well underway as of the fall of 2015. We anticipate probably 40 stations, somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 stations in 2016 in California. And then from that point, after that initial threshold is reached, the number of stations really need to grow in lockstep with the number of cars that are introduced.
And then, of course, obviously one of the major issues with hydrogen fuel cell, or a lot of these alt vehicles, is range. So how is that something you guys are addressing when building this network?
So when phase 1 of our network is built, a customer buying a car in San Diego will be able to drive up to Lake Tahoe on his first day of owning that car. Now, this is in California in phase 1 of the network. We see this vision of expanding beyond California. We see a corridor of stations across the country so that folks can get over to the East Coast or up to Oregon and Seattle and into Canada eventually in their fuel cell cars. So it really does become a true replacement for their gasoline car.
So when it comes to True Zero, who's actually backing you guys with investment?
So our main investor at this point is the state of California through a set of grants that they put out to build a network of hydrogen stations. I think the state of California realized that they would have to play a role in this because private industry was not stepping up. However, there needed to be a little bit of additional investment, and what we did is we went to some of the leading automakers in the fuel cell space, and Honda and Toyota in particular are the 2 lenders that automaker lenders that are working with us.
That actually bridges well into this next question, which is how are automakers involved with this growth of a new technology?
And so automakers have been working on hydrogen and fuel cell cars since the 90s. They saw both the legislative action that was going to come and require them to do something with these cars, as well as the need and the consumer pool for these type of cars. And so they started developing hydrogen fuel cell vehicles as an alternative to battery electric vehicles that were able to overcome the range and recharging time problems with battery cars. And the cars are finally here. They're finally ready to commercialize, and the infrastructure has to step up and match that.
All right, so Shane, from your perspective, how do you see California aligning not only with True Zero, but with hydrogen on a bigger level?
California historically has actually played a major role in pushing new standards for vehicle emissions, making vehicles cleaner, and it's had a ripple effect across the entire United States and really a ripple effect throughout the world. So I think one of the reasons we're really optimistic about fuel cell cars is because California has shown the same kind of consistent leadership on getting fuel cell vehicles out as a key zero emission technology. And we expect to see the same ripple effect across the United States and across the world.